Welcome back, brothers, tourists, and ladies, to another episode of The Chapter House, the Old Glory Club's look into the men and chapters that make up this Old Glory Club. Joining us tonight is the Bluestone Heritage League out of Northern Virginia, not to be confused with Vetus Dominium out of Greater Virginia. But joining us to represent our brothers so close to the heart of the beast is John Estencook. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. I'm sure that there's some historical significance to that name and picture, but I am a pleb, so you're gonna have to tell us about that later.
Sure thing.
Also
Yeah,
joining us is Timothus, 89. How are you, sir?
I am doing great, thank you.
Well, I'm really glad that you guys could join us, because I sometimes get people asking the rather artless question, do you have a DC chapter? Which, I mean, come on. Who would want anybody that lives or operates near DC? I'll toss it over to you guys, since you are very close to the heart of the beast. What's it like running a chapter so close to the Eye of Terror?
The warp reaches out and touches your mind quite regularly, and only the strongest of wills can survive it.
Yeah, I can imagine. You must get a lot of interesting characters, spooks, and other denizens of the night, for sure. But yeah, you guys have been with us for like six months.
It's been a little over a year, actually.
Really?
Funny enough.
Okay, so
a little over a year. Yeah, it was in November is when our year anniversary was, first year anniversary.
Well, that's wonderful. Was that first year after incorporation, or first year after you guys getting together and being like, we're going to do this?
We did incorporation. That's the date we set as our. We personally go, yeah, this is our day that we became a chapter.
Well, my calendar is wrong. I'm not going to change it, but I'm glad that you guys have been with us so much longer than I expected. So why don't you talk about the Bluestone Heritage League? How did you guys kind of coalesce?
Oh man, that is a actually pretty interesting tale in its own right. A lot of which is chapter history that only the inside gets to know. But I will give you all some. It's interesting in that there were a lot of other influences that kind of brought everyone together, that formed the initial group of guys that would become the Bluestone Heritage League. And there were some unique challenges in that formation. And again, that's a specific chapter history that we keep in ourselves. We don't maybe perhaps in a less public time we could talk about that particular history of our chapter. I know very, very very secretive. But and that's the thing I want to bring up too, is that secretive, right? So being so close to the capital and the kind of people that you all could imagine who would show up to want to become a member. Discretion is a big deal in our chapter. Sometimes it'll grind some gears, it'll make some friction between the members, but it is something we take very, very seriously to protect the identity of our members, as well as to preserve a professional decorum in our chapter as well. It's very serious business in the BHL. Sometimes it's some cut up, it happens, but definitely as us as officers, we strive for that high degree of professionalism, that people who come here to work around here and be here in Northern Virginia have the expectation to be.
Nope. Did we lose somebody?
Did we lose Timmy?
No, I finished my thought.
Oh.
You may speak,
I was gonna
Mr.
say,
John. You may speak, Mr. John.
That was a
Keys.
very, very pregnant pause.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the things they made me do. No, I'm just kidding. But what Timmy said is definitely true. And speaking as someone who has been, slightly across the river from Northern Virginia for over 3 years now, I can definitely attest, one, to the incredible bifurcation of the type of people that come up here. They're either really great or they really freaking suck. And the people that suck can suck for a variety of reasons, but for whether or not it's just in their personality or they have like nefarious goals, keeping the chapter and the wider OGC, away from those people, out of like off their radar and off of their like targeting, definitely goes into a lot of the thinking of how we operate, not only with our own membership process, but I would argue in most of our like day-to-day interactions as a club, our interactions as individuals in the public, in our personal and our professional lives as well.
Yeah, I mean, that you talked a bit about discretion and vetting. But before we dive into that, I do want to thank you for going with the Bluestone Heritage League, because it would have been way too easy to go with something like the Foggy Bottom Boys, which would have just been like way too much of a double entendre for me, and I think for most right-thinking people. So thank you for that. But yeah, your position being in Northern Virginia, we're not a, dear listener, you know this already, but the Old Glory Club is not an activist organization. It's not a political organization. It is a fraternal organization. But as a fraternal organization, that kind of skews in one direction. And the types of people who are attracted to DC and the DC area tend to be insane. So I can imagine that, the discretion you guys have to exert and the vetting processes that you use must be quite exacting. Could you give your fellow brothers kind of a rundown? Obviously don't get into the confidential stuff because this is public. Of what it is that you guys look for when you're vetting new members.
So obviously, a high degree of professionalism is something that we really look for. There's also, I think anyone in any of the chapters anyone in the chapters that do vetting, especially a lot of it, there's like little ticks you look for, right? It could be small things, and ultimately you're looking for a guy, like the kind of guy, one of my chapters, someone that can trust us and we can trust them. And if they're already like, if it's day one and we're trying to build that relationship, but they keep it too much close to the chest, or they treat this thing like it's weekend warrior stuff, that's not a person that we trust, right? We want guys who are only absolutely committed to the goals of the Bluestone Heritage League, or even the Old Glory Club, or even America, the survival of America, the preservation of America, and the love of America as a whole. And there's all these little things that might come up. Sometimes it can just be as simple as, like, we have a culture. Bluestone Heritage League does have a culture. We have our own unique way we interact with each other as brothers. You may not fit that mold. And that could just happen. It's not like it's not hatred. It's not, anything crazy. It's like, that's what it is. And that culture we form is very, very important. I think anyone in the chapters across all the Old Glory Club nationally would agree, like, your culture matters big time. And it's important to strengthen your culture as much as you can, really, because, I'm not going to speak numbers, but, a lot of people can come into a chapter very rapidly. They can radically adjust the culture. You got to be really careful with that. And that's what we have done. We're very cautious about who we let in. Another thing that's we kind of look for is not just professionally, like what they do, that can be that can help your membership. But like, how many other things do you do beyond your job, your employment? And that's another big thing we look for. Employment can get impressive, especially in Northern Virginia. A lot of impressive people here. But not just that, but what's that extra step you take? What is the, like, your hobbies? What are you doing in your free time? Whatever free time you do have, how do you spend it? And I think those are really important questions to get to ask. Another thing is we need people who are going to be not easily shaken, right? And yeah, it can be part of it is I don't want to give away some of our methods, because we do, especially in our officer corps, we don't explain that to get it out public, but there are some things people will view as, that doesn't make any sense. Why would they drag this on? Why would they move fast here? It's like, oh, it's actually part of the plan. So when you are deciding on who's going to be a member of your chapter, you have full control over it, right? Remember that always. This isn't like everyone gets in. That's not how this works. And yeah, sometimes you need to see if someone is able. Maybe you see potential. You're like, maybe this person could be good for us. Give it some time, but kind of lead them around. If you catch my drift, don't give them what they want immediately, and see what they do. Let them earn the membership. I think a lot of our chapters come through here all have this mechanism that there's an earning of that membership into our chapters. But anyway, I've spoke a ton. So Mr. John, if you would like to build upon what I said, I would love that.
And thank you. To kind of just reinforce a few of his points, I cannot think of a time when BHL has shown, caution, patience, prudence, what have you, in the membership application, membership review, the pledge process, if you will, and it end poorly for us. Because of like the unique nature of where we are, because of the unique circumstances under which we and our constituent members operate, it only benefits us to show an abundance of caution, and also dot our I's and cross our T's and make sure that the organization is only bringing in the best of the best. Because especially up here, while it is true that there are a lot of impressive people up here, there are a lot of people that are impressive on paper, and in real life they're not, so to speak. And those are not usually the kind of people you want in the kind of organization that we are.
Yeah, I'm glad that you guys really focused in on this, because it is important to remember, as our friend Pete Canonez says when he's echoing Thomas 777, that we're not a big tent, we're a velvet rope. And the idea is to get men of high quality together throughout the organization to kind of get things done, and not really just be another, Elks Club. But you mentioned that you weren't really interested in getting people who saw this as like a weekend warrior, like oh yeah, if I have the time I'll get involved kind of thing, which implies that you guys any good organization is like a good woman. She's going to make demands of her members. So do you guys do that? Do you have expectations of the men who join the Bluestone Heritage League?
So we are the chapter, I think this goes for all chapters. We're always in building, right? We're building onto things. We get to one goal, we move to the next. We accomplish our goals, we go on to the next. For our chapter, yes, this is our next stretch goal. We're going to try and get as many members involved in however capacity they can. Speaking of unique challenges, another unique challenge is that the people, our guys, our brothers, they are tremendously productive people. And so because of that, you know, we have to be adaptive when it comes to meetings, setting quorums, all that stuff. Any of the business that is handled in the club, we have to be very inventive. Because I will not get into what all my people do, but I assure you, it's very busy stuff. Sometimes some guys we may not see for a couple of months because they're so busy. They're up there doing things that are very important professionally for their families, and so it's not like they're not participating. It's like we know that they're in a busy place and they're doing other stuff. Now, for our chapter, we have to make allowance for that, and we are very thankful that we have a number of our good brothers who are very busy, and yet they still find any opportunity in whatever minutes they can squeeze to participate, whether that be engaging with our Twitter account, whether that be helping us from afar plan our own events here locally. You know, it's that there's all kinds of different ways. Thank God in the year of our Lord 2025, you can actually assist your chapter in its business while not being immediately present or physically present. Now, obviously, physical presence is important, and we're very thankful that our members, when they can, they do show up. And that's something that as we go through the process of bringing in new members, we stress. It's like, look, we want you to succeed professionally. Obviously, your family comes first. Your God comes before all of that. So we want those things to succeed, right? If the Bluestone Heritage League is taking away from your ability to succeed in those areas, we have failed as a chapter. And so we want to facilitate that building a brotherhood while we exist in this hectic place called Northern Virginia. Is there anything you'd like to add to that, Mr. John?
Yeah, I mean, you know, look, guys, we're not the mafia here, so your profession and your family must naturally come first. But I think it speaks to the quality of our members and the potential of our chapter that, you know, we have guys who do disappear figuratively for months on end, and then they will, you know, all of a sudden show up at meetings, show up at hangouts, make an effort to make up for lost time, try to connect with new members, and, you know, catch up on old business. And it definitely fosters a very, very close sense of brotherhood with each other, but also one in which we're kind of comfortable where, you know, if you don't see John for like 3 months, he's probably not off doing anything bad. It's probably just like stuff is popping off in his professional life. And then he shows up on a Saturday.
Yeah, he had to report to his handler. No, I get it.
Yes.
But no, I mean, yeah, you guys are close to the heart of the beast. And I'm going to take this moment to remind any tourists in the audience that Old Glory Club does not keep membership rolls. So the centralized apparatus does not know who is in the Bluestone Heritage League. That is for the chapters only. So when I say this, I'm not hinting at anything, although it would be pretty cool if I was right. But, you know, imagine you had somebody in the Bluestone Heritage League who was in the administration, who was in the DOJ or the DHS or whatever. It does make sense that they might have to disappear, because I know that those guys pretty much work 7 days a week with just no time off. So it does require quite a bit and quite a bit of patience. So I'm thrilled to hear that the BHL is, you know, taking that into consideration. It does speak to the professionalism that you guys are trying to put together. Now you already gave quite a bit about, like, just talking about how you guys handle these sorts of things and what you expect from your members of what the culture is. It's very professional. But I wonder, what is the demographic of the BHL? Specifically, obviously, they're all men, or I hope so. Otherwise, you guys might get your charter pulled. But what is the age demographics? I know that that area can actually be kind of wild for you know, from you know, fresh out of college to dead on their feet elderly.
So demographically, as far as age is concerned, we have a very wide surface area on that. We've got guys who are very young, not in the teens or anything like that, but 20s. And then we recently had a member who's much older. I mean, he's got daughters that are like just a little bit younger than our youngest members. So, and he's a great guy. And so, yeah, it's a huge range we have. I think the majority, and I can feel if I get this wrong, my president's gonna like crush my soul. But I don't think we have an average. Obviously, we don't want to keep that information. But I would say the cohort is still kind of millennial. But we do have a good number of younger guys. So we skew if you were to average it younger than like myself. But we do have a few guys there who are much older, and that's a good thing. You'd be surprised if any of you guys have chapters who do not have like a Gen Xers or even, quite frankly, boomers in your chapter. You're kind of missing out. They bring, even if they're not like putting in a lot of effort into the chapter, they do bring a stability and experience when they show up, when they're present. That people even my age, I'm getting there. It's gonna come when I become that like stone wall that everyone goes, whoa, don't mess with that guy. God willing, I'll be
the wizened elder.
The wizened elder. That's like I want to become that's what I'm trying to get to.
Missing some teeth.
No, we have we are not to. This word is terrible, but I can't think of any better one. We do have a diverse age ranges in our chapter, which is I think a very powerful thing. Personally, I like some more younger guys, but I think that due to the nature of where we are in Northern Virginia, like it is a tough town if you're a young guy. Like unless you know someone or you're big money, it's gonna be a tough town to get into. Not to discourage you, if any of you out there are trying to move and succeed at a place like Northern Virginia, please do that. Please endeavor, be successful. But it's a tough town if you're a young guy to try to get started in, just because it's very expensive, it can be very chaotic, and you all probably have an idea that the demographic makeup of Northern Virginia, it's not as bad as you think, but it's not that great either.
Yeah, I mean the base. Oh, sorry, Kurt.
No, I was just gonna say it ain't Northern Maine, but please.
This is true.
I was just gonna say the based Gen Xers and Boomers are actually a treasure. Like they're, it's such a crying shame that they are not the majority of that generation. We'd probably be in a much different place as a country. And personally, I have found that the really like right wing older guys that are like up here, not necessarily part of OGC, but like are up in this area. They have a lot of really valuable institutional knowledge, but also they've survived and kind of mastered the art of keeping their head down in some of the most hostile environments a right-winger could probably find himself in up here. So I personally have learned a lot of tricks, coping strategies, what have you, and I actually think their presence in an organization like ours is a real benefit, because that's those are kind of really valuable coping strategies that I think a lot of us, to succeed professionally until the currents of politics change, will probably need to master at some level.
Like what you brought up.
I think that.
I like what you brought up.
No, please
John,
go ahead.
With like how to keep your head down. Some people, even brothers in the OGC, may see that as like, oh, that's kind of, it's kind of a wussy thing to do. Like, okay, I get it. But it's something else the character of our chapter due to where we are, and I think you'll see this with chapters who are founding in, you could say, blue areas or whatever, not patriot zones. That their expression of behaving like a patriot, right, is gonna be a little different than the wonderful folks in Alabama or our wonderful folks in the Midwest. It's going to express differently, and so we actually do in our chapter have obviously in the privacy of your brothers cut up. I personally, I actually please, it's okay. It could be a pain out here in these streets, but of Northern Virginia. But you should be practicing a bit of discipline when you're using your voice, when you're going out there, even on social media like X or Instagram or whatever. Probably should tone some things down a little bit. We know we also vet for that, by the way, of how plugged in are you in the concerns of patriots. Are you just like a tourist, or have you been a tourist for 5 minutes or tourist for 30 days? That's what we're looking for. But no, we've had to, in the chapter, develop an environment, develop a principle of discipline when it comes to what can you say, where can you say it, how can you say things, and obviously give some room still to if you would need to pop off to your brothers, pop off, man. Because especially here in Northern Virginia, when our guys show up, we may be the only patriots they know. And a lot of guys who show up, that's the case. It's these are the only patriots I know, is in the Bluestone Heritage League, or what I heard from OGC streams or wherever. So no, I thank you for bringing that up, John. I totally forgot to think of that, to even mention that. That's another specific point us in Bluestone Heritage League have to consider.
Yes, they allow me one moderate crash. Sorry.
Is it one your entire life, or one a month?
They allow me one mild one per month. But if I do any more, then I have to go to the blue box.
I mean, what you guys are saying is great, and it's something that we've heard echoed through other Chapter House episodes with other chapters, that the boomers and the older Gen Xers, they bring, especially the ones that are going to be self-selected into an organization like the Old Glory Club, are going to have the wisdom that we've all been starved of growing up, because it's one of these trite things, and I'm a millennial myself, and for all the Zoomers listening, we couldn't turn to the boomers for advice of any real quality in general either. And the Old Glory Club is a place where you're going to find the rare exceptions to that. But you guys had mentioned that your membership process. Oh, but before this thought leaves my head. So you said you had a member whose eldest daughter is just a little bit younger than your youngest member. So it's have you guys started the Old Glory Club dating service? Is this the first the first instantiation of that?
Probably. I am not personally involved in anything like that. I mean, it's possible in the future. Unironically. So I'm not going to divulge my personal information in my personal stuff here. But perhaps if some of you all I don't know about all that. But I know there are
all
some guys...
I have to say is, ladies, if any of you are listening to this, my phone number is.
Now you just sound like Sandbatch.
I guess speaking of demographics, that's another thing to bring up. Married men and not married men. We're kind of half and half, which is interesting. And obviously, everyone affirms, if please, when it is your time and you professionally are at a place where you may do it, or you just are absolutely called to do so, get married. I'm married, but it's like that half and half, which I think is a good thing, because there's actually, interestingly enough, like we've talked about things like, we should try to figure out how to get our single guys hooked up, maybe in the future, far future. It's ultimately, we have a lot more other things that are ahead of us than trying to come up with, that kind
there
of
are
stuff.
like dating clubs in DC that apparently have like a dearth of single guys. So just throwing that out there.
Is there a one with a dearth of a dearth of single guys? Oh
yeah, that's what I've been told. I've never been to one. I've never been to one.
So this actually makes sense to me. Last time, well, not last time, but when I was in DC as a young lad, all the bars would let the men in for free and the women had to pay cover. So I'm glad to hear that hasn't changed.
Well, then this is news to me, which I think is a good thing. But we'll have to explore that. Unironically explore that. See, look at that. We're coming up with ideas right here on stream. So that's good.
Yeah, that's perfect. But remember, for every great man, there is a conniving woman who brings him low. So just don't set your brothers up to fail. But I joke. Something you guys had mentioned earlier about the membership process, that it might be quite opaque. And when you were talking about that, I was wondering, when you say like people might have questions about like why does this take so long or why is this going so fast, do you mean the applicants themselves or other members of the BHL?
The applicants, the members, they know what's going on, and yeah, we intentionally do that as part of the design. Some of our members, they got in pretty quick because they impressed all of those who deal with membership, and we're like, oh well, this guy knows what time it is and his heart's in the right place. Other guys may take a lot longer, as we're waiting for, because like we kind of we value the inputs of all of our members, but sometimes like us officers, we're a little privileged, and we will use that privilege because the officers do a lot of work in the chapter. Also, our officers are really good. By the way, is something, John, you could correct me if I'm wrong. I like to think us officers are pretty good at what we're doing and how we're.
Yeah, totally. I'm not under duress.
No, not at all. Not at all. No, there's no impending kick out for anything he says wrong here. No, never. But
well, that's good. So that means you guys have a formal system of vetters. It's not just like, oh, hey, can you live close to this guy? Can you go hang out with him?
I would say at this point we have a pretty darn well-refined and well-oiled machine when it comes to that specific issue.
Yes, definitely.
Well, would you have any advice that you could give your fellow OGC brethren who should be listening to this stream?
Big advice on chapter, because I'm a founding member as an officer as well. I'm a founding member.
I'm sorry, specifically on the vetting issue.
Oh, vetting, yeah. Oh, go on.
In my
John,
experience, red flags will present themselves rather easily. This might be unique to the region we're in, but 90% of the like red flags that I've ever spotted in a prospective candidate have been like fairly obvious or revealed very shortly after the vetting process has begun. Most people you will find, especially people that have intentions other than honorable, are actually for the most part not that smart, and oftentimes don't even recognize their own red flags or what they are presenting as a red flag. So, while I do say that we have a well-oiled machine, we're not exactly reinventing the wheel here when it comes to making sure we only select for the best of the best.
Yeah, I want to build on that too, John. One, to say, personal praise to you. You have a knack for spotting that stuff. That's why we value your input bigly in the BHL when it comes to membership. And so I want to move from that point and say that not everyone has that talent. It's a talent. Like it's not like did you read enough books? It's like maybe a book could help you get from suck to not suck, but to be excellent at something like this requires specific kind of attitude, literally vibe check. Like I'm not even kidding. It's that's like a fundamental thing.
Yes, my vibe dar is impeccable.
Extremely. It's why I value specifically John's input when it comes to membership. And he's really quick. I mean, it's boom. And he's not thinking, he just says it. And that's like when you're running a chapter, you need to look at all the resources you have in the room, and maybe between all your officers, y'all may not have a talent, but one of your other members does. Use it. Don't be afraid. I like to think that no one especially officers in all of the OGC would be like egotistic or kind of weak-willed to be like, oh, well, no, like use your resources available, and that's your members. Empower, like give them the motivation to succeed in that. And like now, fortunately for us, Bluestone Heritage League, like a lot of us are really good at this stuff, and I think it's just a kind of speed in the area, but it's very important that when you're vetting it, a lot of it is just raw, unbridled people skills. Did you hang outside when you were like 8 years old with all the kids? So, you pick up on those things. I know I hate it. It's over for the Zoomers. Just kidding. I know a lot of you guys get out too. But that's at least my personal advice, is that if you are like an officer or you're in charge of things, when you feel you don't have that skill set, do not be afraid to talk to your chapter and get someone who is going to be able to do that job very well and succeed at that.
If I could,
I wonder if this might be a good way to put a good place to put your sales guys, since they deal with that kind of thing. But I'm sorry, John, I cut you off.
If I was just going to piggyback a little bit on what he said. So one thing that I would say, and I've encountered this in my experience in running other organizations or being involved in some of the leadership decisions of other organizations, is don't be afraid to tell someone no. Most of the times you don't, like, it's not really anything bad. It's just, hey, you're not really a good fit for us, and that's like fine. You can save America. You can help the right without necessarily being a member of the OGC. The OGC is not for everybody, let alone everybody on our side of things. So, learning how to say no and not being afraid to say no. As long as you do it correctly. Like if you're a jerk for no reason, that's probably not good. But it's part of building that kind of professional core within yourself. Like when you do need to put your foot down, but do so in a way that's like gentlemanly and respectful, and not being afraid to put your foot down.
Yeah, there's no reason to go out and make enemies needlessly.
Yeah,
there's
but
a lot
I mean,
of people
like
who need to be enemies made of needfully. So,
Yeah. But at the same time, you don't want to risk the health of your organization by bringing in someone who it's like, oh, well, I don't know, maybe there are a couple like warning signs or this kind of behavior might be a problem, but everyone else seems to like him and he hasn't done anything too egregious. That usually will not end well. So
One more thing.
So
I just thought of this, and I remember this being like a very early in our birth as a chapter that came up. The OGC and your chapters, we're not life coaches, okay? If you look at a guy and you're like, with a little bit of work, he could really... No. We have a lot of work to do. Last time I checked, the OGC in general and the chapters was not here to, like, well, you're kind of crap, so let's make you less crap. You know, that's not the business we're in. We're trying to save America through the brotherhood of all of us patriots. And to protect that brotherhood, we need the best. And it might sound a little like callous, but the reason for that is because you don't have infinity hours of the day to rehabilitate the catastrophe of modernity or whatever have you. You don't. You just don't. You need to focus on keeping your brothers already in your chapter good. Not trying to bring someone up to the position of now you're not crap enough. Now you're not crap. You can join our chapter now. It's like, no, it's not really your job. You shouldn't be wasting your resources and your time on anything like that. So if you are a young chapter, please do not fall into that trap. I think that trap may have presented itself. Maybe there's plenty of other good brothers in the OGC across the nation who have going, oh man, yeah, that's right, yeah. Timmy said something that actually that we ran that problem too. Just know that if you did fall in that problem, you're not alone. We kind of we also had a big conversation with that very early on.
yeah, it's good to remember that it's okay to be a small chapter of quality men. You don't have to just go out of your way to decrease the quality just to increase the number of people that are in the organization.
Yeah, that's also, smaller organizations are harder for weird fed ops, especially in our area.
It is nice, though, John, that you mentioned that, now obviously you don't want to take this the wrong way and get complacent with it. But the idea that, there's this idea that the leftards can't map accurately the brain of us chuds. And so the ones that are trying to infiltrate and cause trouble aren't really able to do that. But it's good to hear it from somebody who goes out there and vets them. Have you run into a lot of that when you've been vetting?
As far as quote unquote liptards, actually no. Yeah, that hasn't been the issue when we've turned people down. I'm not gonna say the reasons why we turn people down, but I could say at least might be we'll see if I get yelled at about this later, but we have not had that issue specifically. I can't speak for if other chapters have, but that's not an issue we run into, and that'd be something we'd suss out very quickly. Because I mean, just look at them. I mean, come on, like,
yeah, if you've got a nose ring, it's kind of obvious that you're probably not interested in saving Heritage America.
It's not even that. It's like, you will find, and I imagine other places around the country, especially like out in the Pacific area, probably notoriously for this, is you will find like, dude, physiognomy is like, that's a Heritage freaking American, and you see that the physiognomy checks out, or like the genetics is probably there, but then you're like, hold on a minute, like my senses are telling me that this is like that's a traitor, like straight up, that's a traitor. Like, that guy lives to destroy. Like, every breath he takes is here to annihilate everything I love. Like, because they'll look like you. They may even be like, they may even look really nice. They may be hitting the gym and everything else, but they live and breathe the destruction of everything we hold dear. And that can be very present up here. Because at the end of the day, a lot of those folk are very wealthy, very well plugged in, very plugged into very high elite endeavors, and they have their own culture. Like there's the lumpen leftist who we think of, right? You know, the nose rings, blue hair, out of shape. But you do have the high, and John can attest to this. He's seen them, right? They
They
exist
do
too.
exist.
The
They do exist.
like, yeah, this is probably not a guy we're messing with, and or appears professional, but trust me, if John, you also know, you could spot him, snap of the finger. You're like, no, that guy right there, he may look like he may look like a patriot, but no, there's a darkness in that thing. So, and I'm aware I'm speaking very metaphysical, like I'm aware I'm doing that, and that is intentional, because that's a lot of what this is. And if you don't have that particular talent, it's okay, it's fine. Get you guys who do, because as my wonderful brothers in my chapter will know, I'm a bit woo-woo about some of this stuff, so I'm not getting into that in the stream. I don't got time for all that, but that's at least what I would say about that matter.
John, you got anything to add on that one?
I mean, he summed it up pretty well. Only thing I would add is that the real threat vector isn't really from like an ideologically motivated libtard as far as weird fed ops against our chapter is concerned, in my opinion. The real danger is the ostensibly apolitical like careerist trying to get a couple scalps for, you know, a promotion or something like that. That's usually, in my limited experience and in my limited understanding, that's where the main like threat of something like that, if we were ever noticed by the Eye of Sauron, that's probably the kind of like agent he would dispatch.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Now
agree.
that's a very interesting angle that I had not considered. That it might not be the ideologically motivated bad actor, but it might be the narcissist who believes in nothing, that is merely looking for something that they can kind of pin in their hat in order to get ahead. That's now that's something that everyone should keep in mind. I'm sure that it's
basically
much more.
Yeah, but I mean, basically, just like think of, if you've ever seen the Waco TV series, think of like the like bad FBI guy, that miniseries, who's like gung ho and like helps like instigate the final like assault. That's kind of the apolitical, you know, I just like care about my career and moving forward, and I don't care like who I destroy. Like that's the real danger of like the deep state in general, because it's definitely filling with ideological libtards, but they're not like as competent, at least not yet, and they're definitely, in my opinion, relying on the like last, you know, oh, like I remember when I like, you know, screwed over the militia movement in the 90s like types to like give that like apparatus the competence and the like knowledge to spot something like us and be like, oh, we should take a look here.
So when you're looking for those sorts, do you like bust out the calipers and start measuring like their sanpaku, or is it more of like a you know, you could just I hosted a dinner some years ago, and a friend of mine from another life entered the room, and one of the guys who was a little bit new to the social scene leaned over to me and he said, as soon as that guy entered the room, something felt very wrong. That guy is evil. And I knew exactly what he was talking about. So is that the sort of thing that you just kind of feel it, or are there like obvious tells?
Well, I mean, to be frank, I don't think we've attracted that kind of attention. So I would hope, like, if it's anything like, you know, the kind of the people that I have to share a workspace, a work building with, I'll say, then yeah, you can really suss out the leftards, and then you can suss out the really dark hidden people, I guess would be the word, by mostly by vibes alone. And if you talk to people like that, they are usually so arrogant, narcissistic, and like caught up in the like myth of their own infallibility that they will kind of give you enough tells if you're able to perceive them of like who they really are. But I really don't think anyone like that has tried to like, you know, join the Bluestone Heritage League. Most of the like riffraff is much lower on the like totem pole of bad than that.
Another thing too is to our benefit actually, and that's why I think if you're doing this stuff, is vetting specifically, is our knowledge base of the truth and how our world works and all of the different little things we get into, you know, you name it. I think everyone in the stream knows all the things, right? They listened to streams, read all the books, did the homework. We know all the things. Is that people who don't do their homework, or they do a little bit of homework, they're gonna walk away with like, you know, they're gonna spurg about you know who. That's like a giveaway, right? Because it's like, oh well, they really are really into this one thing. I'm like, yeah, okay, kinda. But you've clearly not been here long enough if you think it's the only thing we care about. Actually, it's among the things, but it's actually one of many things we care about, one of many things we discuss. And so when someone's coming in hot on, you know, them, I think we all know who I'm talking about, then it's like, okay, is this guy a tourist? Does he know that what we're doing in the OGC? Or yeah, as John was saying, some striver trying to get in and do his thing and blow up everything we're doing to score his place, and just did a little bit of homework, thought he grabbed onto something that he could convince us it's like, actually that's not the only thing we do here, and they don't need to know that.
Yeah, it's for the boys. But so just shifting gears dramatically here, since you know, we burned through quite a bit of time, a lot faster than it felt. Which is
wargaming, different like avenues of Fed infiltration.
I mean, that is an important thing to look at.
Welcome to the
guys,
shell.
You're going to be put to work immediately. Here you go. There's recently, and regular listeners and brothers alike will know that there was a large event on the East Coast, the East Coast Forum, which was put together in no small part by the Bluestone Heritage League. And for any listeners who want a recap, there are plenty of them to be found. I'm sure you could just search East Coast Forum and hit the Substacks of the various chapters who were there. But I wanted to ask you guys, so, you know, the Central puts on the main event, every year, once a year, and that leaves a whole lot of calendar for the chapters to do their own thing. For the edification of your brothers, why do something like the East Coast Forum?
Yeah, it's our chapter's not that big. I think a lot of chapters will also agree that, oh, we're not that big yet. But the East Coast Forum was talk about a stretch. Like, man. The fact is that we were not alone. We do not take all the glory. We had a number of other chapters, VDC being a big one. Those guys were such absolute patriots when it came to the East Coast Forum. I mean, they showed up big time. But our little chapter pulled its weight, more than its own weight, in the planning and in the running of that event. It is. It can be. It can. I'm not gonna lie to you. It can be stressful. I imagine when Central's planning their event, their yearly event, they probably go, "Oh yeah, tell me about it." However, it is. It was tons of fun. I was part of that, and it was such an honor. And thing is that the thing that when I went there, now I was a very busy bee the whole day. I was exhausted beyond reason at the end of the day. But the thing that when I'm watching all of the chapters, different chapters show up, and we had guys from all over the place. You'd be surprised how far they came to come to the East Coast Forum. The chapters will build their own cultures, right? We have our own ways of doing things, our own initiations, our own vetting process. Like we spent more than half the stream talking about vetting, like vetting process, what kind of events are they doing, skill sharing, business, founding businesses, and all the chapters have different ways to do the work. But when you bring a whole bunch of chapters in one room, one, solidarity in the OGC, we are a national thing. You're not by yourself out and just doing whatever you want. It's like, no, you are part of a network of brotherhoods. So you get to see that. When I'm looking around a room of all the guys who showed up, and it's like, wow, these are guys from a dozen different states. And you get to break bread, enjoy time, smoke stogies, listen to speeches, talk about the speeches you listen to, and with other chapters. It is extremely important in the long term. So I just want to put out the call, a challenge, if you will, that these kind of events need to be popping up all over the country, coast to coast, and up and down the coasts, and all in the middle of the country, everywhere. They are big endeavors. They can be expensive. They can be risky. I'm not going to lie to you. They're not easy to plan, and they can be nerve-wracking at times. But it will be worth it. There is a huge demand for this. East Coast Forum was a huge success. And those of you who were there, who listened to stream, it was a pleasure meeting all of you. And there will be plans in the future. Whether or not my chapter's involved in that is a different debate, but that's an internal thing. But yeah, I challenge any of you, all my brothers out there, please consider taking on that endeavor. There are now more of us who know how to do it, have experience in it. Please reach out. I'm here. So you could always just email the Bluestone Heritage League. You know where to find our email right there on the OGC website. Please contact with us. We will help you. We will give you advice and lessons we learned, and hopefully make your event better than ours. So yeah, that's my special message, my special challenge to my brothers out there all over the country in the OGC.
John?
Well, I was not at the East Coast Forum. I missed it. I was at a wedding, so I do not have a lot of help I can offer on this particular
So what you're saying is that had you known, you would have gladly forsaken all friends and bonds of loyalty outside the OGC to attend?
Sure.
No, that's another thing. Right there, it's fine. John, all's forgiven, brother. Go in peace. Like, your connections, your networks, your own personal networks also matter. And if miss it, there will be another one. It's okay.
Well, I hope so. Like, good Lord. Otherwise, that means we wouldn't be around next year.
Exactly. There you go.
Yes, these events are institutions unto themselves and into the future. With that, I'm going to mosey on over to the super chats, which, should be pretty quick. Christopher Burke, 458 for $2, sends us his signature salute. A salute to you, sir. Melon for $5. The Boomer members are actually extremely valuable. They're usually the exception that resisted the social engineering all their peers fell into in terms of mental models, etc. A very rare breed. A rare breed indeed, and thank you for weighing in, Brother Melon.
Yes.
Vindicator
Melon is
Man.
like one of those members that's like so casually smart. I feel kind of like stupid in his presence, and every time
Yeah,
he like,
agreed.
speaks on Twitter. So every time he likes one of my posts, I feel like I've climbed Everest.
Yeah, Melon's definitely one of the. You know how there are minor celebs on Twitter. Twitter's Melon's one of those, but only for the guys who know. Vindicator Man for $20. He, as far as I know, is a BHL member. Is he not?
Yes, he is.
Yes, all right. Merry Christmas, brothers. Well, Merry Christmas to you too, sir.
Merry Christmas
It's
indeed.
not all. It's not all cloak and daggers in Northern Virginia. You can find plenty of community if you know where to look. Thank God for the BHL. It and the greater OGC are full of great men. Godspeed. Well, amen to that,
Amen.
brother.
And he is definitely correct. We didn't have time to get into it. Just like what can you expect if you were to live here in Northern Virginia? There actually is like patriots here. I'm aware what the news is like. I'm aware like there's a lot of cap. It is what it is, and it's all true for the most part. But with all that insane crap, traitorous nonsense, and anti-patriot sentiment, there are patriots right here, Northern Virginia. And we remember. So if you ever find yourself here, or are planning to come over here for work or whatever, it's like it's not over. You're not like moving to like literal India or whatever. Some parts may feel like that, but we'll help you with that if you're ever thinking about moving into the area. But yes, thank you, Vindicator Man, and Godspeed indeed.
And we have one last minute, $2 from the Georgian Minuteman. Go who's? Someone help me out with that?
I don't know. I
I
thought it was fun though.
don't know.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm down with the who's if they're $2 worth.
He's nothing, not worth more than a $2 who, if you ask me.
Perfect. All right, guys. I think that pretty much wraps it up. Like you said, we didn't get a chance to talk about Northern Virginia as such, but I am glad that we got to know a little bit more about our brothers in Northern Virginia. And before we do wrap it up, if there's any quick thing you could say to your brothers listening out there, give us a couple of words of unsolicited, or I suppose now solicited advice. John, what you got?
Guys, I know it can be like really dark out there, and I know at certain times, especially right now, like places like Twitter, the TV can feel like they just like radiate disgusting, soul-rotting drama. But organizations like the OGC, the brotherhood that they bring, that is your solace. And like, it's I can't really speak highly enough of how stabilizing a factor the brotherhood that I've found in this organization, the positive effects that has had on my personal and professional life. So, I always encourage you, like, if you're ever feeling down, remember that like you're part of a movement of very high quality people, and just because the odds seem insurmountable today, or the news of the day is really bad, the sun will rise tomorrow. God calls you to fight every day, and the worst thing you can do is just give up. Always keep marching forward.
Amen. Timothus, something to send off on.
Oh man, that's a tough bit to follow. No, John, that was excellent. As as my brothers in the chapter will know, I hate black pilling. You want to get me mad, black pill. So that's do not black pill. Do not black pill. Also, a little bit of advice, generally speaking, as we're talking about what's going on Twitter and everything, all of it. Remain a realist about this stuff. I know it's kind of coming out of my mouth. That sounds really weird, but it's even sometimes I'm like, me a realist, but be a realist, okay? We're not getting based world tomorrow. It ain't gonna happen. And it is what it is in a lot of ways. We have survived. Our ancestors have survived unbelievable things, and we are privileged that we don't have to try and survive those. So remember where you come from. This work is going to be for the rest of your life, and maybe even your kids' lives. So don't lose sight of that. Some things take a long time, okay? A lot of patience, and you're not getting everything you want all at once. And I know some of the younger guys might not like to hear that necessarily, but that needs to be said. But listen to everything John said, seriously, not to be too sentimental about it, but that's exactly lead into the brotherhood. They are brothers, and we will make it through even if the worst happens.
Also call your mom and say hi.
Please call your mom. Yes.
Amen, brothers. Let no man say that the Bluestone Heritage League is not filled with erudite and clear-headed men. All right. That brings us to the end of the episode. We have a couple of things coming up. There's going to be a Christmas stream for the Old Glory Club. We don't know what day it is yet, but I promised our friend Yiz the Eunuch that I'd make the announcement today. So stay tuned for the date on that. Be sure to check out Pony Express Radio tomorrow night at 8 p.m. and every Thursday at 8 p.m. Similarly, American Spirits every Monday at 8 p.m., where all of the most important academic questions surrounding what is an American are answered. And, I can't believe I forgot to ask this. Guys, are you at liberty to comment on the status of Donald Trump's membership in the Bluestone Heritage League?
I will neither confirm nor deny.
All right, listener, you heard it here first. Donald Trump's membership in the Old Glory Club, neither confirmed nor denied. For the Chapter House,